Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Board Operations Committee meeting for Tuesday, September 10th. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Moving on to item 2 on the agenda is the approval of the previous meeting minutes. Leslie, you weren't here. So, Nancy, did you have any changes? Not. Okay. So hearing none, we can approve the previous meeting minutes from August 13th, 2024. We can move on to item 3, public participation. We've had one person sign up for public participation, and that's Mr. Mike Tennis.
Just very briefly, under items for discussion for the operating committee, as well as for the board meeting later, there was an item I expected to see, which was the July Treasurer's Report. Seems to be absent. So I'm curious as to why it's not on the agenda.
Was that your, that was your whole?
That's my whole.
Jennifer, do you want to address? Thank you.
One of the things that we did implement starting July 1st was a new software system. And we are right now starting to work on the reports, or starting to finalize those reports so that we can produce those reports for the board. In the board packet, you will see the list of bills and the P-card expenditures. And we will bring back the July Treasurer's Report once we do have those reports available.
Which would be at the next meeting, probably?
Cross my fingers.
Thank you, Mr. Tennis. Okay, moving on to item 4, items for discussion. Item 4.1, the disposal report.
Hello. The September disposal report consisted of technology items, two-way radios, novel books from libraries, which are recycled through international paper, and some furniture and equipment. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay, any questions or comments on, I'm sorry, this is like, I gotta get further away maybe from the microphone. Any questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Moving on, item 4.2, donations.
Yes, I'm happy to provide 3 donations that the district has received. One is for the Chicago Bears Football Club as a donation to Dundee Crown, the high school football program. We have another one from Diamond Physical Therapy and Rehab. That is a monetary donation that has been designated for the district's athletic on how they want to utilize those funds. And then we have a community member who made a monetary donation to Jacobs High School volleyball team. And with that, they purchased freshman uniforms for the team.
Very nice.
Very generous.
Thank you to all the community members for those generous donations. Item 4.3, music instrument bid contract extension.
Yes, this contract is contract pricing for the purchase of music instruments. We're looking to extend 1 year for 3 vendors and 2 vendors for their second year. There is no increase in price to the unit cost, and we have had favorable feedback from the music coordinator and the teachers on the instruments.
Great. Any questions or comments there? I'm glad to hear that the prices stayed flat, so that's always nice news.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 4.4, salt and ice melter bid.
Yeah, I know you don't want to think about winter yet, but we are preparing. And exclusive from our contracted services for parking lot clearing and ice control, we also use bulk rock and treated salt along with bag salt for our trucks and also our custodians at the buildings. We put a bid out on August 7th, and we had 4 bids were received. Conserve FS out of Wakanda was awarded the contract pricing for the purchase of bulk salt and ice melter based on 550 tons of salt estimated to be used at an amount of $53,900. And then Martinson Turf Products out of Waterman, Illinois, was awarded contract pricing for the bagged ice melter, and that's based on a purchase of 2,000 bags of salt, pounds bagged, for an estimated $11,000. The fiscal impact will be a total estimated award of $64,900, and that will be funded by Fund 20 Operations and Maintenance Fund.
Great. Have we used these companies before?
We have used Conserve FS. Martinson is new to the district, but their product was high standard, and they have good references, so.
Great. And
Walked into Mr. Mickle's office and he had bags of salt and they look like gems or something. I don't know what they look like.
They treated salt, correct, yeah.
so you've inspected the product and
They
you're
have
happy
the
with
samples, yeah.
Okay.
Diane and her department do a great job making sure we get a sample of what we're getting, so
Great.
we can hold on to that and make sure they're giving us what they said they were going to give us, so.
Yeah, that
He offered to bring them, but I told him
that's
it's
okay.
okay.
Yeah, we
Everybody
trust
gets a
you.
piece.
We trust you on that. Any comments or questions on that item? Okay, thank you. Item 4.5, technology services contract renewal.
Yep, so we just have one renewal for this month, MHC, which is our document management workflow solution for our processing our documents in D300. It enables efficient organization, storage, and retrieval of various documents, such as student records and administrative paperwork. So really just, right now, it used to have a bigger role when we were in Lawson, because it would be a lot of the purchase orders and the invoices. Now it is mainly our student records and any historical documents. So this is just a standard renewal. We recommend renewing for the next year as at an impact of $45,768.32.
Okay, any comments or questions on that one from anyone? All right, sounds good. Item 4.6, fiscal year 2024-2025 budget adoption resolutions.
Thank you. This is an update based upon the presentation that I provided at the August 24th board meeting. Think about when that was. When we look at our revenue assumptions, these were the ones that we presented in August. You'll see that our final estimates from the Illinois Department of Revenue came in for CPPRT, which was a 27% reduction instead of the 25% reduction I expected. That reduction equates to about $200,000, which those funds go directly into our capital projects fund. The other thing, which is good news, we finalized our transportation claim in late August, and it computed from the state that we're looking at an additional $2.9 million for the transportation claim. And one of the things that, when I see something like that, I'm like, why is that so large? Deb worked with Durham on some of our special ed routing and increased the mileage, which therefore increased the reimbursement rate. So we will be utilizing those funds to make some improvements in our transportation facilities for our drivers. Their bathrooms are in really bad shape, so we will be investing in that, as well as utilizing some of those funds for field trip funding.
Okay, great. Does that change? Does that fluctuate quite a bit year to year?
Yeah.
So, okay.
And there is a proration. These estimates were prorated based upon, I think it was an 80% proration. Usually in the past, we've seen for special ed, particularly 100% proration, but in the recent years, it has dwindled down. So I'm very pleased to see that increase.
Great. Does anyone have any questions on that one? Okay.
When we look at our operating funds revenue by sources, we're at roughly $370 million. When I added in that state increase for transportation, our state revenue part of the pie increased by 0.5%. And I could go through these a little bit. Local revenue, again, is considered with property taxes the biggest portion of the district's revenue and interest. Our state revenue is comprised of mainly our evidence-based funding, transportation claims, special education claims, and our early childhood grants. And then when we look at federal revenue, you have your food service revenue that we get reimbursement from our meals, and then our IDA grant, which is our special education grant, Medicaid reimbursements, and then our Title I funds. Our expenditure assumptions remain the same. The one thing I will say is that as we have started the school year, our staffing has actually now come to fruition, what we're seeing in our payroll system. So we are looking at adjusting our salaries and benefits as we see the staffing come in. Other than that, everything has remained the same. When we look at our operating funds budget expenditures by object, we're roughly at $368 million. And here you can see salaries and benefits make up majority of the pie. Our purchase services is 18%, and that is considered with Durham, food service, as well as now our subs. So that is a big portion of our pie. And you'll see our supplies all the way down to our equipment make up the other pieces, and our other objects are considered our outplaced tuition. When we look at the tentative budget summary for operating funds, again, operating funds cover day-to-day operational expenses and activities. Total revenue, again, is $369 million. Total expenditures and other use is $368 million. So we have a projection of a $1.8 million surplus. Again, we're still working on finalizing those numbers up until we get to the next board meeting, but that is what we have right now. When we look at our operational expenditures percent to fund balance, we are in compliance with an equal to 30% of working operating expenses. We're at 35.74, which is our board policy. I'm going to let Mr. Mickle talk about what capital plan projects we have for summer 2025.
Yeah, so we're going to be continuing our district-wide master facility plan. That's been exciting so far, and will continue to get more exciting and in-depth. Phase 3 at DMS, we're going to be finishing up the geothermal project there, so we're pretty excited about that. Intercom replacements at Cartersville Middle School, Oak Ridge, HMS, Gulfview, and Lakewood. So we'll be getting rid of our older systems and bringing in the new Atlas systems. Theater, audio and visual and lighting, just like we did at Crown and Jacobs, we're going to be doing Hampshire High School and also CMS. Roof repairs and replacements at DMS, Eastview, and Newbert. Westfield flooring replacement, we finished the classrooms at both the elementary and middle school side, so now all the hallways, corridors, and all the public areas will be replaced. Newbert flooring, we got about 21 classrooms, including the library and the main office. Carpeting is going to be replaced with the new flooring, along with Hampshire Elementary School, the area around the library, and then the classrooms that are around the library there. I think there's 10, I believe. We also have some exterior work. Dundee Middle School's track will be replaced. Jacobs track will be resurfaced. Dundee Crown's tennis courts will be replaced, taken all the way down and completely replaced. And then Parkview Addition design work. So got a busy summer we're excited about.
So the Parkview Addition design is based on enrollment projections and current building and classroom utilization. We are running out of room in our classrooms. In addition to our supplemental spaces, we've stretched every possible space this summer. I think you guys saw it in the last meeting, we repurposed a closet, and now we have 2 individuals in that closet. It's a good size. It's a good size, and they have air and stuff. But no, it's a good size.
Do that in Westfield.
I'm sorry.
They used to do that in Westfield years ago, and it wasn't that big a size.
No, this one was a good use of space. So this design will incorporate the outcomes of the optimal educational space from the master facility plan. But at this point, in order to get to the point where we need to add that space on, we need to start that design phase. So that is included in this budget.
And is that like additional, like a building, because it's a 1-story facility, so is it just building addition, like an addition on?
An addition on.
Okay, not reconfiguring current
No.
spaces, okay.
No.
So then when would the actual construction take place?
We are currently bringing the process forward of looking at when that would need to start and what it would need to be. So we're preparing to come ask for approval for that.
Okay, when, you said we're already, I didn't remember Parkview being on the list that was the list of facilities that was really stretched, so are we, like, how dire is this need, like?
It's
this
number
need?
one.
Okay,
And part of that process is we'd bring those numbers back at a soon, very soon future meeting to show that change.
okay, great.
Can I make?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is kind of an aside, but John, I was really upset that I missed the last meeting. It's my favorite meeting of the year. And even though I got to listen to it on the phone, it's not the same as sitting here gushing over how great you guys are. So I'm going to gush now. You guys are great, and everything that you've done has been spectacular, and you save us so much money, and you're also professional, and I'm not going to miss next year's meeting, I promise. Okay. Thank you again.
I also want to invite any of you to walk Parkview with me when I have that coming up, if you want to see that storage space that was turned into a classroom and just kind of see what the building looks like.
Yeah, I think that would be smart.
A
for those of us
storage
who can
space
make-
instead of a closet.
Mhm.
Sorry.
I can be happy to let you,
A storage
happy to let you
room
know.
that was, yeah.
Yeah, we showed
yeah.
pictures.
Okay,
My first apartment.
all right. Any other questions on this list? Okay, all right.
When we look at all of our funds, taking into consideration debt and capital projects fund, we're at total revenue of 403 million, total expenditures at 401 million. Again, the major initiatives are student supports, curriculum enhancements, technology upgrades, and the master facility plan. So we are looking at a projected, all funds in projected $2.3 million. Again, next steps, at the September 24th, we will hold the budget hearing, and I will present a summary of the final budget, and later on in that meeting, you guys will vote on the adoption of the 24-25 budget. On 9:30, we have to make sure that we file that budget with the required entities, and we will post that budget on the district's website.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
I can provide that in the budget update, or not the budget update. Yeah. But, yes, we can give you one.
We can make sure it's there.
Okay, moving on to item 4.7, DMS traffic study update.
Yes, as you recall, last meeting, we had, last meeting we had Kimberly Horn here and reviewed the different options. And the options, I actually brought that with here. The options that we were looking at was alternative 1C, which does not take into consideration an extension from Recreation Drive, which would be up here. It would just be taking into consideration the property that we have and doing a little bit of change here in this one. Option 2C, which was another favorable one we looked at, would be if the Recreation Drive were to extend, how that would impact the traffic pattern here. One of the things that I did request from you was direction, as the Village of West Dundee had suggested that if we were interested, along with the Park District, we could go back and talk to Lennar and see if their offer was still on the table, the one that they had offered previously. The board agreed that we were interested. We weren't committing, but we were interested in that, looking at that. I did communicate that to the village. This morning, I received a response saying that really it's in the district and the Park District's court as to whether or not we should be looking at Recreation Drive. They were looking for us to support the extension completely, and I said at this time our board is not there. We want to see what the options are. So with that, I would like to, with the board's, input, I would like to arrange a meeting with Lennar to explore potential collaboration if we wanted to extend Recreation Drive.
So that would just be having talks with them to see
If they would
What they
be-
might be willing to chip in to do the,
Correct.
do the work. Do you have any? Oh, you're,
No, you're fine.
can you put your mic on, Leslie?
Is what they want to do reflected in one of these alternatives?
It is right here.
Okay.
It is actually, so Recreation Drive comes up off of Randall, let's just say up here, and it goes past the Recreation Center, and then there's ball fields up here. What we would do is they would actually continue this, pave this, and this would go into that new subdivision that would be here. What would happen is we could open up our gate that we have right here, because this is currently a service road, and we can utilize that traffic flow coming in as one of the alternatives to improving the traffic pattern. Because currently, our parents are holding out right here.
Yeah, well,
So that was the discussion as far as Recreation Drive.
Sorry, to 1C, just so we can see, because I can't really remember like what the, like which stood out as the best option. I think it was an asterisk, right, of if the Recreation Drive really helped or not, depending on the cost associated with it. Was that where we landed? Okay.
Yeah.
So you'd be waiting on, if you approved or wanted Jennifer to pursue that meeting, we'd come back then with that information as well as the best option that we believe out of what you had us go look at.
Okay.
But that one, that one has traffic coming in off of Randall though, right?
It does.
And that's not going to present any weird backup onto Randall?
That would have to be explored.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I do want to remind everybody that I did attend the Park District's board meeting. Actually, Mr. Tennis was there as well. And the Park District agreed to, let's say, forego that property because that is their property, as well as donate their portion of the impact fees no more than what was originally on the table. So they
135.
actually made that motion and approved that.
Okay, they can do that.
I just want to make sure I was clear.
I guess when you meet with that with Lennar, just make sure you get the most out of them, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, and I believe with both options, the traffic doesn't have to come off Randall. There's two ways in, where one of the previous iterations we were looking at, it was going to shut down any entrance from the west, right? And everyone was going to have to go around to Randall to enter, I believe. So at least this is a little bit better in that people can enter from two directions. Right? Can you go back to the other one again? Sorry. I want to make sure I'm not misremembering. Yeah, so see, cars can still come in, right?
They can come in off of
Yes.
72, but then they also can come.
Oh, yeah, and they loop around the front of the building to join. So it will be a tricky little intersection there where the star is.
Yeah, the cars would not come in on 2C, cars would come in off of Recreation Drive. That was the
Oh.
ideal version of separating the buses and the cars from traffic together.
So the cars would come in off of Randall.
Cars would come in off of, off of Recreation
to
Drive.
But
Yes.
that's that intersection that exists right now, right? That I'm.
Correct, yes,
Okay.
Randall and Recreation Drive,
But
yeah.
they would extend it and it would go south towards us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I don't see that as,
They had talked about,
don't think that's-
that they would have to, of course, work on traffic lights, timing and
Yes.
everything.
Because
like
it's only about 2 cars or 3 cars deep, that turn arrow. I think the other thing that we talked about was there could be a benefit to doing the road, but it doesn't mean that we had to use this traffic flow, but we would have the road there for future need. If there's offer on the table to do it, it might be beneficial to build that road, and then it's up to us whether or not we utilize it. I think was the
do we know if we don't agree, is Lennar going to do this anyway?
Not right now, they have not planned. As far as I understand, they have not planned to do this. That is one of the questions I can make clear with them, if they have any intention of doing this.
And so do we know if this is their idea to begin with or the village's idea to begin with?
So, as I understand, several years ago, before my time, this was on the table as a suggestion to bring this road in. So I think it was bringing that back up at this time because we now have that subdivision there.
So it was the village's, just,
The village approached us.
yeah. But under the guise of it being something Lennar wanted. That's what I remember. I don't know if I just heard it wrong or whatever, but my
They never said
recollection-
Lennar wanted it. It was more of the governments working together to improve traffic.
Okay.
And also keep in mind, like, not to lose that many spaces for parking. Keep that in mind when you have that conversation.
I mean, if it's gonna help us, then okay. But if it's just being done because we're getting asked to jump in on something that they don't feel like, we give them enough money. You know how I feel. We give that village way more money than they should get from us. So I would not okay something like that unless it actually is really gonna be beneficial to us.
So the next steps will be you'll set that meeting up and bring that information back, and the board can determine the cost that they are willing to have you move forward with, and then we can discuss which alternative works best. But I don't think we can make that final decision based on what I'm hearing until we know what the cost of this is.
Yeah.
So Jennifer will pursue setting up that meeting.
Right. Additionally, I did remember that last time someone brought up the concern that that parking lot where the buses might be moved to was not maybe like rated for the weight of buses. Did we look into that? Because that would be a cost as well.
Dundee Middle School's parking lot is not in the best of shape. It's an older parking lot, but, you know, it's rated for traffic, for bus traffic.
For buses as
Yes,
well,
yes.
in the area that is currently for cars. Okay.
And none of this, we were not considering any of this until we were approached by the village and the park district, or the village with this, right? This isn't something we were looking into on our own to improve traffic flow or anything like that over at
At that time, we weren't, no.
But I think it is a good opportunity because it is a maddening situation.
It is,
Traffic
I agree.
at DMS. So.
We initiated the traffic study because, in my opinion, we could not bring a recommendation forward to you without looking at what our alternatives are.
Yeah, no, my concern is with the one off of Randall is we're gonna have this, there's gonna be the same, first of all, Randall is, in my opinion, horribly unsafe road. The way people drive on that road now, especially, it's just horribly unsafe. But if people are gonna be stuck on Randall way back, if we're gonna transfer the parent problems to Randall from 72, then I don't see where we're getting anywhere on it, so,
Yeah, for sure. I'd rather be sitting on 72 idle than on Randall.
yeah, absolutely.
The one thing I will point out is the queue will be much larger, but again, you would be waiting for the traffic signal.
Yep.
And they could extend that, obviously, but,
Correct.
you know, that, yeah. You know, it- Thanks.
Well, thank you for the update.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Um,
I will not be asking to come to that meeting, okay?
Okay. Um, I do have one other update I wanted to provide. It's not on DMS, but it is on Westfield. As you may already know, late in August, the village of Algonquin approved Algonquin Meadows, which sits to the west of Westfield. John and I met with the village community development director, Patrick Knapp, on Friday, August 30th. The village approved the subdivision with the caveat that the developer would work with the district in regards to a potential road expansion through, and I'm going to show you this, through the Westfield property. We have initiated a traffic study here as well, because we do know that there's traffic concerns there with arrival and dismissal. So we are continuing that traffic study to look at what's the best potential solution for the impact of traffic on arrival and dismissal. Ideally, what we have been presented, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, from the village, is that they would like to see something come in through here, and loop in. However, as I said, we are doing the traffic study and we'll bring back that information.
Where's the development?
It's right back here.
So, when you say come in through, are they gonna put a road in there? So then it's gonna come off of Long Meadow? Like on Long Meadow to whatever this area is, the tree line there is gonna
It
become a
comes out to
road?
Randall, correct?
Yeah, no, that will dump out to the Long Meadow, yeah, from the south, it'll come up, and then it tees over to the stub that they have in there is
Right.
right about, just a little bit lower where the hand is, coming in, where that would come into our property.
Right in
potentially.
here?
A little bit higher, yeah, just like right in
Yeah.
that rectangle, yeah.
But it will come off of Long Meadow?
That road, yeah.
The one to, then you had to, like, if
Yeah,
you're coming in, then you'd have to take a right onto the new road.
There's one line, yeah, the one road coming off of Long Meadow kind of goes all the way through, snakes through, and then that would be a stub off of that road.
Okay. I live like, I can spit and hit Long Meadow from my house. I can see Long Meadow from my house. It's already bad. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna be really bad. Now, it won't be the 3 o'clock drag races up and down Long Meadow that we get every night now, but, that'll be during the day, but it's gonna be bad, so.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
how many houses are going in roughly?
I believe it's 99 single-family homes and 150 townhomes. So
Wow.
it's like 200, right around 250,
And
250.
they're talking about 3 phases, but Lennar likes to build them fast.
Yep. And with the shortage in housing stock, they'll want to get those.
And that's not limited by age or anything like that, that's just regular.
Were we expecting those type of numbers to come out of that plot of land? Okay, so that's, at least that part's not a surprise.
We've had that in our enrollment projections for, I think, the last couple of years.
Correct, it wasn't called Algonquin Meadows before this year, but then we've had this in the past projections that this was gonna be in the works. Right now, it doesn't look like it's supposed to break ground for till 2026 is what the projection was, but again, they work a little faster.
We're looking at 2025.
But it's like,
yeah.
they're shooting for 50 and 34 each year per thing, so.
And I would say 2026 school year, so 25, 26.
Okay,
That'll be really interesting.
So this is just a preview of what else may be coming. So, just wanted to
thank
share
you for
that
the
with
heads
you.
up.
We're fresh out.
We're gonna get really good at these traffic studies and parking lots. All
Are there any
right,
other questions on any of the traffic studies?
Nope,
Thank you.
thanks, Jennifer.
okay, so I think we can move to item 4.8, construction update.
Yeah, so Dundee Middle School HVAC, the geothermal Phase 2 is substantially complete. We do have some fine tuning. Geothermal systems are very delicate as far as balancing them off. They did a much better job having a year underneath their belt this year, so that's been a lot easier of a fine tuning. Our theater renovations for the electrical and stage lighting is complete at Crown. At Jacobs, we just have that additional aisle lighting, the safety lighting to be put in when that comes in. Chiller, we're still chilling, so we're good there. That's still firing up on all circuits. Parkview Staff Lounge, the materials have been ordered. Construction is going to start in October. We're going to be trying to do that on some weekends to get that taken care of for the staff there. And then the elementary school gym AV upgrades at Gulfview, Lake in the Hills, Lakewood, Meadowdale, Parkview, and Perry. I know this says in mid-October from last week when we put this together, but we're going to be utilizing some late starts. So tomorrow morning they're going to be doing the conduit work and some of the pre-construction phase at Perry. So they'll be putting in some of the infrastructure there. So that'll go through probably Thanksgiving. The speakers were about 6 weeks out. So we're hoping to get all the conduit and everything, all the tracks in before those speakers come so they can just wire them right up and have some great new sound systems.
Great.
And one of the things I will just bring up is the Parkview Staff Lounge and the AV upgrades are all grant related. So they're paid with grant funding.
Great. Okay.
Can I ask a question? I saw something like going around earlier this week, at Dundee Crown, did we have like a water issue?
No, we had a backup, when we rotted, it was in one of the bathrooms in the athletic wings. When we rotted it, there was some items in the line that shouldn't be in the line that we had to clear out. That's all that was. By the time I saw it and we were made aware, the school had already taken care of it and we're working on it and had it sanitized and cleaned up.
Great. All right, item 4.9, master facilities plan update.
Yes. So again, just bringing it back, purpose of our master facility plan is to align our facilities with district educational and operational needs, is to ensure long-term sustainability and adaptability with spaces like we're talking about with Parkview, support growing student populations and evolving community demands. Our expected outcomes are a long-term prioritized plan, data-driven space utilization and efficiency improvements, modernized learning environments and infrastructure, and stakeholder-driven decisions that reflect needs and priorities. And when we talk about stakeholders, we're talking about students, staff, and community members. I will tell you that one of the other outcomes that is coming out of this facility, master facility plan, is our 10-year life safety. It made sense to do both of them at the same time. So we were able to take advantage of that. Current status, our facility assessments are completed and they have been analyzed. We have about 500 pages of data that we are going through right now. We're establishing optimal learning environment standards. We have data collection from stakeholders is ongoing. We have gotten some feedback from early on from Hampshire Elementary, and then we will have additional information coming from staff and students later on this month, early next month, within these 2 months. We are also identifying initial priority areas for improvement, like for example, if we need to touch on our HVAC systems and et cetera. Upcoming next steps. We will be continuing conversations and data collection with key stakeholders. We'll be prioritizing recommendations, identifying priority areas for improvement, and identifying funding sources. Because again, it's a long list, but there's only so many funds to go along. Preparing for community engagement. At our September 24th meeting, we will have a presentation talking about our next steps, that we will be providing information and we'll be seeking information from the board. We're going to talk about timeline and strategy for community meetings, how that feedback will influence decision-making, and of course, importance of transparency and collaboration with our community.
Will the
Yep.
the funding for the master plan, would that be included in the budget, this year's budget, or would it be in the future?
It would be in the future. You're talking about the projects in the plan.
Yes.
It'll be in the future.
Okay.
We will be bringing forward what buckets are available, and I'll call them buckets of funding that is available. Dr. Smith and I did meet with our financial advisor, Liz Hennessy, and we'll be talking about potentially bringing her back out.
Great.
And I look forward to a great discussion on the 24th. Kelsey is here from Leggett, who has been working with us on our plan, and we've become best friends, I think. So
that's on that'll be at which meeting?
the 24th.
Okay.
Yep.
The general meeting, right?
The general meeting,
Got it.
yes.
Okay.
Dr. Smith, is there anything else you want to
I just wanted to say the 24th is a deeper dive. It is not our final proposal meeting.
No.
Okay.
We need a couple more months for that.
Well, it's a big undertaking, and we want to be thoughtful and smart and strategic. So I appreciate that you're taking time, to identify too, like what's the vision, and what is it that we feel, not just like going at it with
Rushing
a lot
through
to
it.
take. Yeah, it's a lot
Yeah.
to take. It's a lot to take on.
So we'll be looking for that next phase of feedback from the board on the 24th. So we identified those areas with that discussion from I've lost track of time, but I remember that discussion at this meeting. So now we'll be bringing you, here's our timeline, here's where we want to go, and really looking forward to hearing what else you want to make sure that you see through this process for the community.
Great. Thank you. All right, if there are no other questions on the master facilities plan, we move to item 5, announcements, which is that the next Board Operations Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October 8th, 2024 at 4:30. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.